It is Dawn Elliott,
And Nicole Bradley.
and we are back. And it is day number 8 of our 12-day Conquering the Inner Storm live stream. And tonight's lifestyle topic is finding and maintaining a fulfilling career. So I'm excited to talk about this topic tonight.
Me too. Me too.
Yeah. As I said in the promo earlier, that a lot of us are out here working and we're working real hard every day.
Mm.
And we're working under the guys that grow up, go to school, get trained in the area, get an education in the area, you get the job, and everything is supposed to be perfect after that.
That's what they say.
And a lot of us are not having that experience. A lot of us are quite disenchanted from our jobs. So we want to talk about that. How can we figure out what it is we're supposed to be doing so that when we are working in our chosen field, that doesn't feel like work?
Mm.
So you want to jump right on in? And before I do, I have Felicia and Verna right here watching. Thank you, ladies. I appreciate you tuning in tonight. Tell a friend, tell a colleague, tell anybody you think might benefit, anybody that you know that is currently working on a job and is feeling the kind of way. This will be a show for them tonight. So have them tune on in with us tonight. So, all right. You want us to read this excerpt, Nicole, for this chapter?
So the excerpt for this chapter, finding and maintaining a fulfilling career. Finding and maintaining a fulfilling career can involve exploring your interests, values, and strengths, and considering how they align with different job roles and industries. It may also involve seeking out opportunities for growth and development, building a professional network, and staying up to date with industry trends and changes. And I'm sorry if y'all hear something outside, it's some big truck making some noise. So to maintain a career fulfillment, it may be helpful to set goals and priorities and to find ways to stay motivated and engaged in your work. It can also be beneficial to strike a balance between your professional and personal life and make the time for activities and people that bring meaning and joy to your life. Ultimately, the key to a fulfilling career is to find work that is meaningful and fulfilling to you.
Yeah. Yep. That's the ultimate goal. But a lot of us are not reared in that way, in that it's not so much finding something that we can't hear anything. It's not so much.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm like, they making a lot of noise. Okay, my bad.
It's not so much that we are taught to find something that we love. Find something that's going to provide you the lifestyle that you want. Find something that's going to pay the bills. Find something that gives you some prestige with the title or whatever that is. Not often that those that raise us sit down and say, follow your heart, whatever that is. If you want to be an artist, if you want to be whatever, follow your heart, because you only get one life. Yeah.
Not my mama.
Well, I think that's most parents, because, they come from a space of, I know what my life was like, and I want yours to be better. And I know that these chosen careers might provide that financial opportunity for you to have a better life. But yeah, it's a price to pay with them. So our one word activity is the first activity in every challenge. So you want to go ahead? Go ahead?
I'm scared. I'm scared. So out of that section, the one word that I came up with was align.
Align. Okay.
Yeah, align. Doing great with the right thing is what align means to me. And then I said doing great at doing the right thing. And I said I'm good at a lot of things, but not good in all different. I'm sorry. I am good at the right. I got scribble scrabble today, y'all. Please forgive me. I am good at a lot of things, but not good when going in various different directions, or not good when I'm good in something that I really don't like doing. So alignment for me is doing what I want to do and doing it the right way, going in the right direction. When any of those three things are off, I am I'll do it, but I'm not optimal. I'll put it that way. I'm not in a good mood to do it.
Yeah.
It'll
Yeah.
get on my nerves. Somebody
Yeah.
may get snapped on that day if that's if that's the case.
Yeah, I think that's most of us. Yeah, and I think that's the problem. Most of us are in one of those buckets. We're doing it, and we really don't want to be doing it, or we don't feel like we good. All the things you said. So yeah,
Right.
I get that. I get
A
that.
lie was mine.
Okay. So I had a streak going on for 3 nights in a row. I was
Well,
able to choose one word, but yeah, not tonight. So
have we both had just one word, or has it just been off each time?
yeah, the last 3 nights,
One.
the
Okay.
last 3 nights I had one word, but not tonight. So tonight I have interests, values, and strengths. So let me read the sentence so it makes sense. Finding and maintaining a fulfilling career can involve exploring your interests, values, and strengths, and considering how they align with different job roles and industries. So interests, values, and strengths, those stuck out to me because I feel like in order for you to find a career that makes you happy, that brings you joy, that makes you feel like, okay, this morning I want to get up and go there, right? It's got to be something that interests you.
Yes.
It's got to be something that you find value in or that aligns with your values. And you got to be able to use your strengths in that career, chosen career. So I know, and I've always been, and I think that's how I kind of landed in human resources. I've always been interested in helping others. And I want to be able to be a part of the process where people say that they have a goal and I am some way instrumental in helping them reach that goal.
Mm-hmm.
I am very interested in helping people to become a better version of themselves
Right.
or live their highest expression. So that allows me to work on the coaching side and work in the HR realm. So those things interest me and value. What I value most and what I value for a long time are my independence, freedom, peace, and something that feeds my soul. So my chosen work has to allow me to be able to be independent. Like I need the freedom in whatever work that I do to be able to make choices. Like people trust my judgment, that I don't have to answer to anyone, not necessarily answer to anyone, but I'm given the freedom to do my job. So
Mm-hmm.
I need that, and I also need the job to, at this juncture in my life, I need to be able to move how I want to move, when I want to move, where I
I
want to move.
agree. That's
Yeah,
that correct.
it's
Yes.
paramount for me, you know, and having that level of freedom, mental freedom, emotional freedom, because you're not stressed,
Mhm.
physical freedom that I don't have to be tied to a building every day, and spiritual freedom because I'm doing something that brings me joy. And
Right.
my strengths are communication and connection. So the HR world has allowed me to utilize that because we're always communicating. We're
Yeah.
always trying to connect the dots for employees and leadership and management. Training. I'm always communicating to some. I'm always facilitating some type of conversation. So HR has been beautiful for me in those areas, right? But I'm ready to just kind of hang that up and just work on the other side of the people personal development. So yeah, that's what stuck out for me: interest, values, and strengths. Those things have to all be there in order for you to get up every day and not feel like I have to go to this place one more time, just one more time.
It's
Yeah.
gonna be a real problem. I would say my interest when I first went to college was had nothing to do with HR. I didn't even know what HR was, and I went into engineering. So I spent my first 2.5 years doing chemical engineering. That's my
Wow.
sister was a chemical engineer. So like how your interests come about, and has a lot to. I go back to my upbringing a lot, but my sister was an engineer, and I'm like, who is she? Who does she think she is to be the only engineer in the family? I'm gonna do it too. And so, we'll talk about later how that was not the path for me, but I did not find it interesting. It was not an interest to me. So I could do the work, I could do the math, I could do the physics, I could do the thermodynamics, I could do all of that. I just was not interested at all.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that at age 20, I was like, I'm going to do something different because I don't want to do this.
Yeah. 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 And I hear that a lot from attorneys. They go into it because of the prestige. They go into it because of the potential money that you can make. They go into it unjaded and really want to help people. But they quickly find out it's not what they dreamed it would be. I know so many attorneys that are just disenchanted, like they hate their jobs. But you spend so much time educating yourself and doing all the things that you needed to do. Like it's just hard to, yeah, it's hard to throw that away and really do something else. But I know that's one particular field that I know quite a few people that just hate their job. Yeah.
Now, my sister, shout out to Robin Hayes. She's been chemical engineering it for the last 30 years. She loves it. That's just her, engineering is her thing. So
yeah,
that's
like I said,
so that makes sense.
admire people that find out real quick what they want and they go into it and it's everything that they desire for it to be. So that's a blessing. That's a blessing.
Absolutely.
All right. Let me go ahead and jump into, I see a couple other people have joined, but again, I can't give you a special shout out if you don't type your name in. But if you choose not to, hello, and thank you for tuning in with us tonight. So we are on day 8 of our 12-day live stream of Conquering the Inner Storm. And tonight's topic is finding and maintaining a fulfilling career. So we're going to go into the next activity for this chapter. We've already done the one word, so we're going to do the quote and question. But before I do that, I'd like to say this is the cover. If I can get a good shot of the journal. There you go. Thank you for it. That's the cover of the journal. Yeah, please go on out to Etsy, etsy.com, and search Conquering the Inner Storm, and you can purchase your copy there. So the next activity, as I said, is the quote and question. So let me read the first quote and share with you my thoughts on that. So choose a job you love and you will never have to work a day in your life. We've all heard that.
Yeah.
And I believe that to be the case. So I personally think that we are all born entrepreneurs. We are born entrepreneurs. We know exactly what our gifts and talents are. At 5 years old, you might not be able to articulate, I want to be a whatever that is, an architect, but you like building stuff. You like working with your hands. You know these things. They're intrinsic. You don't have to do anything to get good at it. It's just in you. Now, that's not to say that obviously the more you do it and you study in that field, you won't get better, but it's a natural innate talent. So I believe we are all born with what those gifts are, right? And for whatever reason, we're directed away from them because people don't think they're going to be lucrative for us, or whatever the reasons are. We're told that we're not smart enough to do it, or whatever it looks like. But I think we're all born with that. And I think we have to hone in and focus in on those things we love a lot more. Identify those natural gifts. And if you follow that, ultimately end up in an area of work that you love. Now, it might not always look like you thought it would look, meaning you just love music and you thought you were going to be a singer, and you ended up, after you got into it, saw there were so many other avenues to go in the music industry that you figured out you love. You can be a music teacher, you could be a producer, you can be a whatever. So there's so many other things that your gift lends itself to in that area that you're gifted in. So I believe if you really hone in on that, and I wish I had done a better job earlier on with my kids. I tried to be very responsive to them saying what they wanted to do and exposing them to some things, but just the little things, not necessarily them saying, I want to be a paleontologist, but just noticing the little things that they were really gifted at, that they really enjoyed doing, like that really took them into their Calgon brain, and really press those buttons to see where it would have taken them. So yeah, I think you got to get back to your natural innate, that thing that you do that without effort. I think once you figure that out, then you find the job that you love, and every day you get up with a desire to do it. And sometimes it happens by mistake. You know what I'm saying? So, no, I think it's always there, and then we are directed away from it, and then something happens in life that causes a shift. and then
Right.
we'll direct it back to
So for all of you who don't know what Calgon is,
it.
Calgon is a old, well, they still sell it, like an old school bubble bath salts type of
They do?
the tub, and I think so.
Okay.
And it makes all the bubbles and the nice smells. So if you don't know what Calgon is, it's the
Yeah.
most relaxed version of you.
Yeah, yeah. That you get into your Calgon bath, and it was supposed to take you away to the most serene and amazing place. So yeah,
Bora
so
Bora,
what,
thank Fiji.
all that. So whatever your thing is when you're doing it that gives you a Calgon moment, that's probably something you should be doing. So Felicia said, I actually wanted to chime in a few days ago to Dawn, which is me, she was referring to me, about Dessa, which is her mom. Dessa's cooking. I can cook. Maybe I missed my calling. So
Oh,
there's never a miss. You're still here and you're still breathing, right? People know you can cook. Now I know Felicia, I know it's a lot of men out there that think they bout it on the grill.
how about
But
it?
she got skillz, not SLLZ. She got skills, mad skills on the grill. And she knows her way around the kitchen, around the stove, and she ain't afraid of it. And so if that's something that you're passionate about, if making food, I go back to The Help. I think that's the movie where the maid was teaching the lady how to fry chicken, and she was talking
Oh
about
yeah,
how fried chicken just takes her away, and that's her happy place. Ain't nothing like frying chicken. If when you in the kitchen, you feel like that, that's probably something you should be doing. And see that's what I think most people miss. If your talent is something like cooking, even if it's something like singing, if it's something like sewing, we will say to ourselves, oh, it's a lot of restaurants out there. People are already cooking. Oh, it's a lot of Whitney Houstons and Patti LaBelle's and those. Look, can't nobody do your gift like you can do it.
that's
So there
correct.
might be 100 restaurants that
Yes,
grill that fry chicken, but nobody fries it like you. And it's something about you that make people want to patronize you. It's your whole packaging, how you fry it, how you sell it,
yeah.
whatever that looks like. It's going to be unique from everybody else's. So I think sometimes we get caught up on the fact that it's already saturated. It ain't saturated with you.
And people are buying up personal chefs like nobody's business.
Every day, all day, all day, all day. Yeah, yeah. So that was my quote. So let's get to my question. How can you infuse your natural gifts and talents into your work? So my work for the last 25, 26 years has been human resources. And for the last maybe 15 years, coaching. And so they really intertwine. There's a lot of coaching elements in HR. And
Yeah.
there's a lot of having to see the gray, the in between in coaching, right? And so I think in order to include my natural gifts, which are communication and connection. Communication means being able to speak in a language that people understand, meet them where they are. But it also means being able to actively listen, right? And I think I do that well. I think I listen to what people say for sure,
Mm-hmm.
but I hear, I process extremely well what they don't say, and that gives me a lot. Yeah,
Agree with that 1,005%.
yeah. And that allows that allows me to engage people with my gift in that uniqueness about me, right? So I think I do a lot of active listening. I think I create a space where people trust the collaboration. So when we're working to get you to your better place, people trust the collaboration because of the rapport that I build with them. They trust my observation. They know I'm not saying anything just to be saying it. You know what I'm saying? And I think I made a different type of connection with people. So I infuse my gifts of communication every day in the HR realm or the coaching realm. So yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I like it.
So okay, I see
What?
several more people have joined. Let me give a shout out right quick.
Oh,
Felicia, as I said,
yeah.
Verna, Marilyn, thank you for watching. Betty, thank you for watching. And so Felicia says, I realized how Miss Verna and Miss Lane was so instrumental to you that was new to me. So tell me about that, Felicia. And then she said, I never knew how it would look, different paths. It works, but should not feel like that. Yeah, work shouldn't feel like work.
Right.
And that's the gag.
That's the thing.
Gag that it's been a big joke. You're supposed to go to work, and work is supposed to be hard. You're supposed to be fighting the next man. You're supposed to put a good day's work in and come home tired and, not have time to do anything. That's a lie. That's a lie. We've all been sold a bill of goods.
Correct.
Yeah. So you got the next question, man.
Yep. And the only thing I wanted the audience to do to get a little bit of engagement going is write down one thing, comment one thing you're good at.
Yes. Okay, so I got Felicia out here, Marilyn out there, Betty and Verna.
Okay.
Some other people who hadn't chimed in. Just put in the chat one thing that you're good at, one thing that you believe is your gift that you're good at.
Yeah. So my quote was, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is now. It's a Chinese proverb. So the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. And so I would say that for me, I planted a tree 20 years ago, which would have been Trey.
Okay.
So Trey was a monumental, life-changing shift for me. And becoming a mom at that point, and just, all of the newness that you get with yourself, because I was out there, and I'm just joking, I went out there. I was not out there. I was working a whole lot of hours like we've been talking about. Yeah. And then Trey popped up. So 20 years ago I planted, and so then I started watering, gardening, fertilizing, tending to, watching over the seed that I was working through, right? So Trey is 19. So 20 years ago, I would have been pregnant then. So we can technically say 20 years ago, seed was in the ground. So still, watering and planting this adult seed now that's starting to sprout and go in its own directions. And then it said the second best time is now. So I think the seed that I'm planting now is in me, as a new business owner, as an empty nester, as a new pet owner. I'm trying to think of what else. I'm just finding out more and more about myself every single day. I mean, literally every single day. So it's been good. It's been good to get back to taking care of the seed of me, because I've been taking care of the seeds of Trey and others for a long time now. So I'm getting back and cutting the kudzu down and pulling the weeds up, and getting some new grass and some new soil, and watching the seed take hold now, take root.
So I have a question. So you're in this new seed season.
Yep, this new seed season. I like it.
So, and you said you keep finding out stuff every day as it relates to who you are as a person, your growth, and all that kind of good stuff. And I'm sure it's framing and forming what you want to do with the rest of your days as it relates to career. Correct. Have some of those discoveries been shocking to you, these new things you're learning about yourself, or is it like, oh, okay, well, yeah, that makes sense? But have these things been I'm asking that because when you're in a season of change, people find out things or discover things that are jarring for them, and they don't know how to deal with them.
I don't think what I'm finding out now has been shocking. I think the shocking part has been, once you give it the attention it deserves, how easy it can be. Yes. So I'll say that to Felicia's comment. I never knew how it would look on different paths. So when you start going down that path, your heart path, things start to flow, right? And those are not things that we are open to jumping into willingly unless something happens, right? But yeah, things do flow pretty well when you focus on it. Okay. So, and then the question was, how can you continue to learn and grow in your career? So when I wrote this, I said I can learn and grow by seeking to understand my purpose and my new opportunities. I want to also continue to sharpen my skills and my gifts by taking on new and exciting work and projects. Okay. And then I said I'm also learning more about my momager advocacy role for Trey. So, when you start getting into the sports arena and folks start making decisions on your baby's behalf, I'm like, that's a whole different beast. I didn't even know that was in there that I had to, bring forth to address that. But as I looked at this today, I just put down one sentence and I just said, new role, new me,
Yeah.
new role, new me,
Yeah.
whole new learning mode. And what I mean by our new learning mode, I'm learning how to really budget for a company, how to do social media or not do social media, or what type of social media, how to sell, how to engage clients, how to format your offerings. So I'm learning, it's a whole new entrepreneurial learning style now. And so I'm not so much looking for, this warm and exciting and fuzzy development opportunities that opportunity companies has to offer. I'm looking at wanting to provide those opportunities to others now. So
Yeah.
just a
Yeah.
different hat.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally different hat. Totally different hat. But exciting.
But
Exciting.
exciting. It is exciting.
Well, I'm gonna go through my next one really quickly. So we can cut to Miss Tasha. I see she's ready to join us. So I'm gonna go really, really quickly. So passion is energy. Feel the power that comes from focusing on what excites you. Oprah Winfrey said that. That was a quote by Oprah. So what I know, as she likes to say, what I know for sure is when we're passionate about something, we go hard in the paint for it. So when you have a new hobby, oh my goodness, when you have a new relationship, even if you have caught a new series that you want to watch on TV, people binging, staying up 2 and 3 days, watching all 16 episodes back to back. So I know we have the ability to be passionate about a thing. So I think we have to learn how to transfer all of that passion that we put towards external things, the new car we want to get, the new relationship, the new hobby, whatever, and internalize that passion back to yourself and figure out the things that you want to do and put that much fire behind it, put that much commitment behind it, put that much excitement behind it, because every day is a new day, and every day may come with a different set of challenges, but you got to have that passion. I've learned the difference between the words inspiration and motivation. You're not always going to be motivated to get up and go work out. You're not always going to be motivated. If you wait till you're motivated, a lot of times you're not going to do what you're supposed to do. Right.
That is correct.
But you have to find that passion, that energy, that things that inspires you. So today, when I don't feel like getting up, what is my inspiration to get me up anyway? Right. To do it anyway. So yes, you got to have that same passion that you have for those other things. Turn it inward and figure out what that gift or that talent is, and figure out how to do it each and every day. And it doesn't have to be major, just a little thing. If you do one new thing every day, you're getting closer towards your goal, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so the question is, what are your interests and how they align with different jobs, roles, and industries? So my interests are, and this is going to be really quick: self-development, coaching, training, speaking, and traveling. So that's all I want to do. That's it. Nothing else. That's all I want to do.
Say they're done. Let me write them down to make sure I know.
That you know what they are. You definitely know what they are. So again, I want to make sure my interests are intertwined in every choice that I make as it relates to my profession. If it doesn't allow me to do one or more of these things, I don't want it. Right. And I think at some point we have to take that type of charge in our life, because if not, we're going to continue to go to work at these jobs that we hate and suffer for 8, 9, 12 hours a day, and, really not live this life like we're supposed to. So yeah, it's got to have those things. It's got to have those elements for me. And again, today, everyone, we are on our 8th day of this 12-day Conquering the Inner Storm live stream. And today we're talking about careers. How do you find and maintain a fulfilling career?
Do we have anything in the chat? We was asking folks to put down what they were good at. I didn't know if
No, I didn't get anybody to put down what they were good at. So I don't know if this is the issue that Lydia talked about last night. We can all talk about what's bad and what we don't like, But when it gets to what we do like, we
And what
find
we
it
do
hard to kind of talk about that. Are we experiencing the same thing tonight, RPJs? I know you guys can put down something that you believe that you're good at. Just drop it in the chat. All right.
So my quote was, the best career advice I received was to find something you love to do and then figure out how to get paid for it.
Yep.
By Conan O'Brien. And so I love that advice, and I know it kind of echoes the one that you talked about from Confucius, Madame, but I wanted to kind of do something different. I just put down the best career advice I received.
Okay.
So the best career advice I received was from Dr. Graham Jones. He was my organic chemistry professor at Clemson University. I did a couple of summer internships with him on breast cancer and breast cancer testing of medications. And he told me that I suck in the lab setting and that I should find something else to do. He said, find something where you can use your personality and inspire others. Microbiology is not for you.
Okay.
Meanwhile, I got my cap and gown. I'm ready to go, get my graduation. And I'm like, yeah, microbiology, everybody's doing it. And he was right. He said, I'm telling you, you are the most awful person in the lab that you can have. No one talks in the lab. No one jokes around in the lab. Everyone is very neat, orderly, sterilized. He said, you have great technique. You have great knowledge. You know exactly what you're doing, but no one wants to hear, about your weekend or asking them about their weekend. And, you come in there like, hey, everybody, la, 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 and they were like, oh my gosh, you got to get this intern out of here. We hate her. But we hate her. She is awful for a lab setting. But
she's like wanting to talk. She's lively. Right. She has a personality.
Right.
Here. Oh wow.
So I'm like a major mega extrovert in a room full of super, super solitude, introverts, and they were not having it.
Wow.
So I took his advice actually that summer. After I graduated, I went to the Career Center. I took a personality assessment. Personality assessment said your personality is best suited for education, social work, or human resources. Okay. And that's how I went and got my master's in human resources. That's how I got into HR.
Oh, wow.
I never known because I was an honor student in microbiology, by golly. I was the president of the Microbiology Society, and you couldn't tell me that I wasn't going to do great things.
You did. You just did HR. Yeah.
Look at the microbiology, but that didn't help me. The fact that I like getting down to the intricate details and research, that has definitely helped me in my life.
Yeah.
So it wasn't
instead of dissecting frogs and stuff, you just
I'm doing
your relations. That's all.
Yeah, I'm doing all of that.
Yeah.
So the question, how do you define success in your career? What steps are you taking to achieve it? So I define success by doing meaningful tasks, evolving continuously on a professional development perspective, maintaining good health and mutually beneficial relationships, maintaining my character and integrity over money, and then financial freedom were some of the things I wrote down for how do I define. If I've achieved those things in my mind, I've had a successful career. And I wrote a new statement, new pivot to entrepreneurship. So those are all the steps I mentioned before, the steps I'm trying to achieve now.
Okay. Good. Very, very good. Very good. Okay.
Oh, right. Are we ready for our guest?
We are.
Well, Miss Tasha Mabry. We both know Tasha. We've worked with Tasha. And Tasha's also a RBJer, which is our Reimagine Potential journaler. Tasha's more of a natural journaler. She writes everything down, and everything has a place. It's organized, it's color coded, it has sticky notes on it, it has dots on it, it's all of the things. So Tasha, thank you so much.
Calling me out.
Yeah.
And look, see my sticky notes?
So thank you for joining us tonight to talk about finding and maintaining a fulfilling career. And this is really good because Tasha kind of has a couple things going on. So Tasha, I'll be quiet and just let you have it. Is there anything about yourself you want to share with the group? Is there anything about the chapter that was most impactful for you?
Um, as far as sharing with the group, I mean, I don't know how much y'all want me to share, but I've been in HR for a while. Started out about 20 years now, I guess. And I was just listening to you all talk about just kind of finding the passion career and how Nicole just sucked at microbiology. And I went to school to be a teacher. I was an elementary teacher and a coach and got married and just I thought I was living, that so-called life, nice house and a white picket fence. And I just knew probably about my third year into teaching, I was like, I'm not doing this for 30 years. There's no way. And actually even how I got into HR, I didn't even know HR was called human resources. It just never plugged into me that way. And when I decided to get my master's, I actually started in public administration because that was like the only thing that I guess from the title, and you got to think I was like 22, 23. And so from the title, I was like, okay, public administration, working with the public, okay, that's probably it. 2 classes in, I was like, no, this isn't what I was thinking. And so I dropped the classes, got out of the program, I'm from Athens, so go dogs. And and then I went to the University of Georgia, actually met with one of their career coordinators over there. And I said, listen, I don't know what this is called, but this is what I want to do. I want to help people. I want to coach people. I'm really good. I'm a teacher by nature. Like these are things I want to do. I want to work in these type of environments. And I mentioned, different type of companies, kind of what I envision my day would look like. And she said, oh, we just started a brand new program and it's called the HROD program, which was HR and org development. I said, oh, that sounds great. And it was exactly what I wanted to do.
Wow.
But it took that path. I mean, I knew what it was. I just couldn't put a name to it. And so it took going through that to do that. And my first phase of teaching, I mean, I don't think it's ironic that I was a teacher and a high school, cheerleading coach, because I'm still a coach and I'm still a teacher. So just in a different platform. So again, it's just like Nicole was saying, having those being very detailed oriented, what she was doing in microbiology and how it flows into what she's doing now. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of my career path as far as how I got into human resources and how I met LaDon and Nicole.
Yes.
Years ago it's been now. I mean, oh my gosh, it was like 2007. So
yeah,
whatever that is, almost 20 years.
Yeah.
So so that's how I got there. And since then it was just a match made in heaven. Y'all stuck with me forever. So
well, that's a pretty interesting story. And I'm glad you shared that with us because I don't know that most people would have thought, let me go talk to somebody. I kind of know what it is I want to do. I don't know I'm convinced now because I've run into so many people that have jobs that I never even conceived were jobs.
Right. Yeah.
Whatever you think you might want to do, it's probably a job or a need for it. So to be thinking to go talk to somebody and have them put it together for you and find it is
it's out there.
Yeah, it's out there.
Yeah. And that was, and again, I think also kind of where you are in life. So when I think about people who are probably in their 30s or 40s, sometimes, we don't like to always ask for help. We think we know it by then because we've had some life experiences or whatever. But at that time, you got to think I was 23, 24, and I was invincible. I believe that I'm invincible now, but I was a risk taker. I took more risk than I take now. So you know, at that time I was like, no, it's got to be out here. It's got to be something. I can't be imagining doing something that's not already created.
Yeah.
And so I just kept pushing until I was like, okay, let me find what this is. And that's how that happened. And so thankful I did, because it has been exactly what I wanted to do.
Amazing.
Exactly.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. So I'm gonna ask you a question real quick before you dive deeper into your area of expertise. So I'm interested to understand the journal and how it has impacted you. Your thoughts about the journal as it relates to this specific topic. You've done the work earlier and trying to figure out and put the pieces together. But what has been your experience in working through the journal? What has it done for you?
Well, and let me say this, besides just like gushing and smiling and all that kind of stuff, when y'all showed me the journal and I was so excited, I was like, oh, I got some kind of journal. And it looked so good, and it was so thorough and well thought out. And so besides that part, I'm just, congratulations again. I love it.
Thank you.
As I was telling Nicole before, I do my own thing. So I've skipped around. I have not gone in order.
Okay.
I skipped around what I was kind of interested in the most.
Yeah.
You know, and so besides number 8, what we were talking about tonight, the other 2 that really captured my attention was number 2, which was finding a sense of purpose and direction in life. Always been really interested in just, you talked about some things like the inspiration versus motivation. You know, for me, I think I've started really putting emphasis on purpose and passion.
Okay.
So that caught my attention. And then the other one was dealing with stress and pressure. And just balancing that throughout life. I think those are things that I probably always will have to, you know, just be very intentional about. But those 2 really stuck out to me. And then of course, the number 8, as far as navigating the career and everything. So, and think what it's done for me is that I don't believe you ever get too complacent. You know, you can't ever get too comfortable. I don't care if you're an expert or you feel like, oh, you have years of anything. You know, as your personal life changes, so does your outlook and your experiences and how you tackle things. You know, even when I think about like love languages, my love language 20 years ago is completely different than what it is at almost 46.
Yeah.
So even in my career, you know, how I want to do it, what I'm willing to sacrifice and what I'm willing to not sacrifice, what I'm willing to do and not do, you know, is completely different than it was 15 years ago or 20 years ago. So what I like about the journal is that it doesn't matter what phase of life you're in, whether it's personal or professional, it's thought provoking. It gives you an opportunity to still do some self-reflection and, you know, just to kind of stay on your toes so that you don't get complacent, not only with what you're doing, but even with yourself.
Yeah.
You know,
Nice.
just, you know, it's very easy to get complacent with just how you do things. And then sometimes you look back and say, but is that working out for me? Like, I mean, I know I've always done it that way, but does that work out for me now at this phase that I'm in my life? And so that's what I really liked about the journal.
Can I ask you about that? Because I think a lot of us ask ourselves that question and just go, no, but we keep going. Why or how? And I'm hoping this will help somebody. When you come to that fork in the road where you had to ask yourself, is this really working for me? What courage did you muster up to have an honest conversation with yourself and then to make the change if it wasn't working for you? Because I believe a lot of people stay in that place that's not working for them because it's comfortable, because it's safe, because I know this devil.
Yeah. Well, I'll have to take it back to this. I think you have to deal with root causes of stuff. I feel like people who are, when I say people, I'm people, you know, because I've been down that road. But I think when we get to a place where we accept complacency, why? You have to deal with why are you okay with that? Sometimes it may be, maybe it's a result of fear. Maybe it's a result of previous failure. Maybe it's a result of you not feeling supported. So I'm saying that to say to kind of, lay the foundation for me many years ago. And I can remember the exact thing that I was doing, the exact year and everything. I really prayed about what was my purpose,
Okay.
in life. And so when that was revealed to me, what my purpose was, that became the driver of my decisions.
Okay.
Um, and again, personal and professional. I don't separate the two. Um, I know we do as far as the task and the functions and that type of thing, but I don't change who I am in the profession, who I am personally in my personal life and with my friends. I'm loyal, I have integrity. All those things are still following me and who I am in the workplace.
Okay.
So for me, once I knew what my purpose was, I had to make sure everything I did was driven by what that purpose was.
Okay.
And for me, that purpose was to break generational curses.
Ooh.
And I knew what those were, and I knew what those were identified as. And so that's my driver for a successful marriage. I didn't
Okay.
have that in my past. That was my driver for going on and completing my career and being trained, because I didn't grow up around a lot of people that, had degrees and had careers. They had jobs, but not careers. So
Okay.
once I knew that, that became the motivator.
Okay. Okay.
So that was the driver, and it still is. It's the driver behind everything I do. There's times I want to give up. There's things that I don't want to do. There's things that, I don't think I should be doing, but I understand why I have to do them.
Wow. I hope you guys were listening. You said a lot.
I know, I'm like, my heart is fluttering over here.
You said a lot. You said a lot. So let me read some of the comments, and they go back. So Dot said, and I think this is in reference to how do you incorporate your gifts into work? And she says she works with a lot of patients that get a lot of information. So she put a process in place to start communicating well with her patients. She sends them emails so that they can get back and reference things. So that's a natural talent of organization that she
Yeah,
has, that she was able
absolutely.
to bring to the work environment. Felicia says she was referencing socially, she's not good. Tell me more about that, Felicia, when we were talking about how it relates to work. And thank you, Marilyn, for joining in. And she said, Felicia says she calls her Calgon China. I think that's what she said.
Okay. Tasha, do you know what Calgon is?
Girl, you from the South, and you
mean the Calgon like take me away?
Yeah, to that, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. I was gonna say, how did you not know that?
Yes, that was the infamous commercial, Calgon take me away.
Somebody
Yes.
wanted a box of Calgon. So yeah.
Yes, sprinkle.
So was there a favorite activity in the chapter that resonated with you the most, that you'd be interested in sharing?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think, I was looking at this, and one of the things that you mentioned was, where's that? Oh, the word, the one word. And so I purposely didn't skip ahead of the chapter.
Okay.
I really wanted, now, that's against what I want to do, because I wanted to, be ahead and see the end first. But I said, you know what? I'm going to do each page by itself without skipping ahead. So when it mentioned like the one word out of the passage, the main thing that stood out to me was motivated.
Okay.
Because it was saying helpful to set goals and priorities and to find ways to stay motivated and engaged in your work. So motivated stood out to me, mainly because I feel like you have to find ways to be motivated regardless of what's going on. Maybe that motivation is a check. I don't know. Maybe that motivation is, to buy a home, or maybe your motivation is to, whatever it is, but you have to find something to stay motivated and to push you forward. And so as I was reading through, then lo and behold, I passed by, in the next page, it was talking about, actually it was like 2 pages over. I think it was the Oprah quotes. Yeah. About passion is energy. And again, that goes along right with that motivation. And so, that stood out to me. And I was like, okay, so I must be on the right path, because, Oprah's saying the same thing. But, I really enjoyed doing the quote and the question. and going through that, I did not, I think what Nicole was mentioning, I'm looking down because you talked about the best career advice.
Mhm.
And I think the best career advice, no, I don't think, I know the best career advice I've ever had was very simple. And I'll never forget, I was teaching. And so this was probably my second year of teaching. And a mentor of mine, he said, Tasha, the work will always be here. And that has stood out to me. And I think as I've gone through HR, and you all know this as well, you see people, they work, they pass away. The next day we have their job posted.
What?
You know, they work, they retire, and 6 months later they're dead. You know, I mean, and those are the unfortunate pieces. You know, they work, thinking that they have retirement and life insurance and not realizing, oh, my life insurance doesn't go with me when I leave my job. You know, and so all of these rude awakenings, and they put so much energy into the work. And over the years, having a family, having children, and just really just becoming more mature as a person in general, I just realized the work is going to always be there. You know, do it, turn it on. It will be there. And guess what? If it don't work out at that place, trust and believe there's work somewhere else. You'll find work somewhere else.
What?
You know, exactly. There's always work. It's always going to be there. So, and we work for a reason. You know, if we were all rich, most of us would not work.
I
You
know
know,
I
we
would.
work because we want to go on vacation. We work because we want to send our kids off to school. We work so that we can buy another car. Like, we're working for reasons. And so the work will always be there. And so for me, that's the best advice that I think that I've had over the years, so that I don't always kind of beat myself up. Because like you all said, I'm a checklist person. So a lot of times, you know, when I don't reach the end of my checklist for the day, it's very easy for me to kind of feel like, oh, I didn't succeed that day.
Yeah.
When the reality is I did.
Yeah.
And there's going to be work there today, and there's going to be more work there tomorrow. And, you know, that's kind of what I say to myself to kind of get over that hump.
I'm glad you shared that, because
too.
I think, yeah, a lot of people don't realize that the work is the work and it's going to be there. And we drive ourselves insane trying to be the best employee. And I'm not telling you not to go to work and not do your best. Give 100%. That's what you do. That's the exchange. You come here and do for us and we pay you, right? But
Right.
some people do it to the degree that that's their life. And then
Mhm.
outside of that, they don't really function well, or they commit so much of themselves to this job, and the job hasn't
Mhm.
committed back to them at that level.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
And again, I don't think that the workplace doesn't commit to people because they don't want to. I mean, you know, I look at the glass half full rather than half empty. So just by nature, I don't think that companies and people just intentionally want to be insensitive. I just think that at the end of the day, the bottom line is the dollar.
Yeah.
And so, you know, if you can't do the work, or if the work is too much, guess what? It's still there, and they'll find somebody else to do it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I think
So
There's
Go
no
ahead.
loyalty.
so give your 100%. You know, my advice to people, and of course, being in our roles, not only in our role, but just who we are in life. You know, we all of us are very similar, of course. You know, we have people that come to us for advice all the time. You know, I'm almost 46, and I have people that are in their 60s and 70s that call me for advice.
That's right.
You know, and one thing that I've recently has told someone, and has been something that I've told several people in the workplace, and this is me from a spiritual side. I don't do my work unto people or unto the organization. I do my work unto God, because at the end of the day, people are going to fail you. People will betray you. People will talk about you. People will be your friend today and won't be your friend tomorrow. So if I'm doing my work unto people, that's going to be conditional.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But if I'm saying, you know what, I'm going to come in here and do a good job because I'm created to be a person that has integrity. I'm created to be a person that has a good work ethic. Then I'm going to do my work unto God, who allowed me to have that position, who put me in that place for that season, not because this person just happened to hire me. They were just a vessel.
Yeah.
And I don't discredit that, but at the same time, that's not my barometer.
Yeah.
Um, and that's had to come with years of experience and maturity and guidance and wisdom. But that has made a lot of things much clearer for me over the years.
Yeah, and that is so true, because I've told myself, and I told people, staff that I had, I don't want you to blindly follow the company's mission.
Mhm.
You understand what it is because you're here to carry it out. I don't want you to blindly follow me. You have to
That's right.
understand why you are here. What value
Uh-huh.
you add? Is it fulfilling your interest? Is it inspiring you? Is it you bring you to the organization, whatever that organization is, and you have to make sure you can bring the best of you to that organization at that time. So I agree. Let me read a couple more comments. So Verna said, being a good caregiver, she is, I call her Florence Nightingale. I don't have the level, I don't have the capacity. I ain't made like she made. She for any and everybody. So yes, so that's a gift. That is a natural gift that you have.
Wow.
Betty says she's a good cook. She is not a good cook. She's an excellent cook. That is a gift that you have. Okay. Felicia says she wants to talk about relationships. Get at it. Get to it.
Mhm.
And I'm gonna take this as a compliment. I think she said never saw this job, me doing this job 35 years ago. Felicia and I went to college together. I never saw this job for you 35 years ago. You were helping me. So I've always been a person to
Wow.
communicate and
man.
connect. So
Awesome.
yeah, people are recognizing that work serves a purpose.
Yeah.
You should use it for its purpose. It should not be your everything. So
Absolutely.
Tasha, what are some tips that you would give to our RPJs as it relates to the topic here? And that is finding your career. Let me quote it exactly. Finding and maintaining a fulfilling career. So I know what your approach to it was when you went to the counselor at UGA, but today, having all the experience that you've had, having counseled people, having coached people in this area, what are some tips you would give to somebody as to how to identify and find that career that's fulfilling for them? Especially if they've been working somewhere else for a long time and they really want to make that change.
I think, actually, I feel like the older you are and more mature, the more experience, all of that when I say older. Actually, I think that makes you a better candidate for figuring out what you want.
Okay.
Because, by that time you figured out what you like, what you truly like, what goes with your lifestyle, what goes with, your belief system. I'm at the stage and age is what I've said in my life, to where
Like that.
you know, and you all know this because y'all rode this path with me. We all were on it at one time. But I can remember when I just did whatever I needed to do to get to the next step. That's not the Tasha I am today. If it doesn't fit what I'm interested in, if it doesn't fit the needs of my family, if it doesn't fit where I'm trying to go, I don't do it. I don't entertain it. And I think for me, the fact that I've been in places before, I've held high positions, I've made really good money, those things. So when you know that you can accomplish something, then that's not an issue anymore. You already know you can accomplish it. So I think my best advice to people would be not just find out what you like, but what is it that you enjoy doing and in what atmosphere? Because some things are entrepreneurship, some things is in somebody's workplace. If you like to do something, that's like if you want to, work in the medical field, the likelihood is you're probably going to be working in a workplace. So you got to make sure, is this the culture? Is this the environment that I want to be in? Because that can burn you out more than anything. You can love what you do and hate where you do it at.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and so you gotta determine, what does that atmosphere look like? What does that, I always like the question, especially when you're younger, and they ask you, like, what's your career? What does a day in this role look like? Like, imagine what that is. I can remember my first career option that I wanted to do when I was younger was I wanted to be a broadcaster. You know, I wanted to go into broadcasting, communications, writing, you know. I don't think that surprised anybody, but that's what I was doing. I was talking on radio stations. I was writing, and I mean, I was doing everything to gear myself up to be a broadcaster. When probably my senior year, when I realized that broadcasters had to get up and the news people had to get up at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, chase stores. I was like, oh no, I'm not a morning person. That ain't gonna work. Call me out of my bed in the middle of the night. That's not gonna work. So, and then even with broadcasting, like being on the radio, you know, in college, you know, we played around and I had me a little DJ name. I was like, I'm gonna be on the radio. But I didn't like the club like that. Like, I like to go to the club, but the reality is the DJs that are really doing it, they're out and about late at night. They're at the clubs. They got to be at the spots, you know, to be successful. You know what I'm saying? They have to be out and about with that. And I was like, that's just not me. I'm going to go when I want to go. And when I don't want to go, I don't want to do it. So again, I just say pick something, figure out what it is that you like, figure out what that looks like. Is that an entrepreneurship path? Because some people are good at things, but they're not good business people. They don't have the business acumen to really be an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And if that goes along what you need to do, then figure out, can you do that? Could you be an entrepreneur and be the boss and be happy doing it? Because sometimes you don't need to be the boss. Sometimes you just need to be the person doing the work and you need to be the passion behind it. So figure out what it is that you enjoy doing. What does that environment look like? Is that an environment you want to be in on a day-to-day basis? And then here's the key. I really feel like you have to know what your purpose is, because if you're working outside of your purpose, you're never going to feel fulfilled because you're out of order. So you got to take some time and figure out what your purpose is, because that's where you're going to fall in line and things are going to come a little bit more easier. You know, me knowing what I know, I work from home now. That's a priority to me because I know my purpose is to break generational curses, which means I have to be more in tune with my children and I have to be more available to them. So knowing that drives every decision I make in my career at this point. You know, 10 years from now, it won't be as big of a driver because I would have already gotten past that season.
Yeah.
But those, I think that's the priority, is find out what you like, think about that environment. What does that look like in the day-to-day? Is that something you can handle and interested in doing? And if it's not, what could you do to make it to where you could do it that way? And then does it align with your purpose?
Girl, you hit all the nails,
All the marbles.
all the heads of the nails. So in each of the quotes and questions in this chapter, it talks about identifying the gifts. It talks about incorporating them into your daily life.
Right.
I like the fact that you said, find what it is you want to do, whatever that job is, but go beyond that and figure out, is the environment correct? What does that look like? Do you have the temperament for it?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
there are some valid points that you made that people don't think about. Yeah, you want to be a cop, but you know, you might not have the temperament to deal with a lot of the things that they deal with. And what came up in my mind when you were talking was, I always wondered why background singers are background singers, because there's some background singers out there that got some voices.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And I know a couple of musicians, and they said they love the opportunity to use their gift to sing. They get to tour. They get to do all the things, but they don't have to be worried about what the lead singer is worried about. They don't have all the overhead. They don't have to work. There's so many things, the things that you just talked about, all those other elements that they don't have to worry about.
That's
But
right.
they get to do what they want to do. So same kind of thought, right? So I love it.
Yeah. You want to be a singer, you know, but what does that look like? Maybe you don't want to go on tour.
Yeah.
You know, maybe you don't want to be an entertainer, because there's plenty of people who can sing, but they're not entertainers.
Right.
And vice versa. Some are entertainers and they sing all right, you know, and so, you know, you have to decide what that is. I remember, you know, again, years ago, you know, growing up, I did dance, I did cheer, I did all of that. You know, I just knew I was going to be dancing on the Miami Heat, you know, cheerleading team. You know, I was watching a pageant that I was in high school, and it said, "Oh, Tasha plans to go to the University of Miami." I mean, I just, I thought I was gonna get down to Miami and just ball out, and completely, I went to Georgia Southern.
Oh,
But
halfway to my.
oh, okay, straight down 95. But but I say that to say that, you know, along the lines of that, I was like, I just don't want to do that. I like the dancing part,
Mhm.
but I didn't want to be committed, and I remember, people would even say, just talking to me like, "Ooh, Tasha," in the back of my mind, I thought, oh, I could end up being a backup dancer for somebody. I could go dance and be in concert and tour, but I thought, oh no, when it's that time of the month and I'm tired, I don't want nobody telling me I still got to go out there and perform.
Right.
I didn't want that type of, I just didn't want to commit. And something I was telling someone the other day, because y'all know I do consulting. So I consult independently and I work with a consulting firm. And what I was telling a lady the other day, she said, "Oh, I used to do some work like that." And I said, "What I like about consulting is that I can be committed to the work, but not married to the job."
Okay. Say that.
So I'm committed to HR, but I don't have to be married to your organization. If hey, I can give my advice, I can give you my expertise, I can give you the years of experience I have with wisdom. And if you don't want it, no skin off my back. If this relationship don't work out, your contract is only for 3 months anyway. I
Yeah.
move on.
Yeah.
So for me, can be committed to the work of HR, which is what I love. Be married to you.
Yeah.
And so that really has changed the scope of the type of work I do, the type of work that I entertain. Nicole knows personally, I had an opportunity to take a job, but they wanted me to come in every single day, drive 30 minutes and come into a building every day. I said, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
So it doesn't even require that. And to not give that freedom. And so again, now I'm in a place where, and I was patient. It wasn't easy because I wanted more work at the time, but I was patient, and now I'm doing the things that I want to do at the amount of time that I can do it with the same freedom. And so yeah, I mean, I think you have to kind of decide what that is. And I'm at that age in my life where I don't mind being committed, but I don't want to be married to everybody in every situation.
And you just so beautifully in your
I
answer
love it.
summed up what the excerpt was about in for
Right.
this chapter. I mean, you summed it up. You have to, my words were interest, values, and strength. It has got to interest you. It's got to align with your
Mhm.
values. It's got to
Mhm.
allow you to move forward with your strengths. You find meaning in your work. You are
Mhm.
motivated. You have different types of motivators now. And you
Mhm.
have enough experience from everything to make some educated decisions. And
Yeah.
I think that's
Yeah.
what a lot of people are missing. You dropped so many gems tonight, and you didn't have to. We didn't have to ask you to answer every quote and question, every activity intersection, because just your answers and the gems you dropped tonight reference every one of the topics in this
Mhm.
particular subject. I'm not going to hold the RPJs for too long tonight. We're at 9:09, but I have one more question. And I'm asking it because you said it. You said, well, you it's hard to kind of make these decisions about your career and have a fulfilling career unless you know your purpose, unless you know what you're passionate about. I
Mhm.
know how I identified my purpose and my passion. We talked about that when we were on topic 2, lifestyle topic 2.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Can you share with our RPJs, our reimagined potential journalers that are with us tonight, how you identified your purpose? Because I think a lot of people at every age still struggle with that. And I think they struggle with it because they're thinking it's supposed to be this big old thing. Everybody's purpose is not to be Oprah Winfrey or The Rock or an NBA player. So how did you identify your purpose? Or is that something you're still working on?
No, it's not anything I'm still working on. I think your purpose is always evolving,
Mhm.
as far as how that's used. Um, but I identify again, I can't deny my spiritual part of it. It came with a lot of prayer. I remember you know, and I'll just say this really quickly. So at the time, and when I say I knew my purpose, I ain't talking about I was like 10 years old and knew my purpose. This was like in my 20s. This was in my 20s, after my master's, after a divorce. So I had already had life experiences and I still didn't know what was my purpose. And so my spiritual question to God was, okay, I'm married, I'm out here teaching. I mean, I done had all these full life experiences. What am I doing? Like, where is this going? What is the end result of all of this? And so through therapy, I'm a advocate for therapy and counseling. I feel like you should have a therapist just like you have a dentist and a doctor and an OBGYN, because you can't say I'm gonna take care of my physical health and you're not seeing someone to help you take care of your mental health.
Yeah.
And we do it backwards. You know, we go to the therapist when we have a problem. Well, if you've been going on a regular, consistent basis, even if it's every 6 months, just like the dentist to get a checkup, then when problems occur, then you're in a better mental state to know how to handle it because you've been prepping for it. So I started counseling and therapy through prayer, and again, just having a village around me too, and saying, you know, this is what I want. And you got to make sure you got a village who doesn't mind being honest with you. And so through all of that, that's how I really came up with, okay, I like teaching, but I don't like teaching little kids. I like little kids, they nice and they're sweet. I like to give them hugs, but I don't like spending the whole day with them. You know, I didn't like that. I was having to have those honest conversations. You know, I like being back at home in Athens, but this ain't where I want to be for the rest of my life. So asking those questions like to myself really said, okay, so what do you want to do, Tasha?
Okay.
You know, what do you want to do? And that's what kind of helped me start probing those questions. A lot of times, like you said, people are sitting back and saying, I wonder what my purpose is. And I'm just going to sit here and wait for somebody to tell me. They don't know you. You know you better than anybody. Ask yourself, what is it that you like, Nicole? What is it that you like? Like, you have to have those conversations with yourself. And then as you start to have that, when you have a village, and you all know this because we've done this before ourselves, Nicole, I've been thinking about this, or I've been thinking about this. Oh, well, you know what? I think I'm gonna own my own consulting firm, or I think I'm gonna do this. And then that's how you start to, you gotta start it. You gotta take those first steps, those first conversations in order to really know what your purpose is. Nobody is gonna just send down a message and tell you this is what it is. It doesn't happen that way.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it.
Honestly,
I think everybody has their own journey to identifying what their purpose is. And
Right.
I just wanted you to share, because hopefully some of the things you said are some things that people can connect with and tune into to
Right.
help
Yeah.
them if they've not figured out what their purpose is. Thank you.
Yeah, and one last thing, when you mentioned that, LaDon, is like everybody may have their own journey, but there's certain fundamentals that's just like with us with human resources. You might be in human resources in the medical field. You might be in human resources, you know, in a power plant. But the foundation of HR is very much the same.
Yeah.
You know, we're gonna deal with policies and people. You know, that's the bottom line. When you start getting into content, that's different. So it's the same thing with finding your purpose. Yes, how you get there and the journey may look different, but those fundamental things, having conversations with yourself, being honest with yourself, those things are the fundamentals. You're not going to get to that part of the purpose and your journey if you don't first start looking within, talking with yourself, having a strong village, like somebody. And when I say village, you don't have to be 10 people, it could be 2.
That's right.
But you got to have somebody that's smarter than you, that you believe is smarter than you. You can't be the smartest person in the room.
Say that again for the people in the back. Please say that.
You know, I consider y'all smarter than me all the time. But again, but I have to have someone smarter than me, because who I'm gonna go get advice for or suggestions or anything like that if I don't have someone that I look up to and that I respect, you know, what they do, their path, their journey. And so those are things that you're not going to get your purpose if you don't have some of those fundamental things in place.
I agree.
I love it.
So
I love it.
that's all.
So Tasha, the one thing I want to add that you didn't explicitly say that we've probably been talking about this whole time we've started this journey, boundaries. So when you say, I just don't do it, if it doesn't fit into my family and these things, I just don't do it. And establishing those boundaries, and that's something I struggled with for a long time. She's like, yep, yep. So
Checks and balance.
I want to thank you and LaDon actually, but you specifically, you really helped me put that into perspective, and I appreciate you for that.
Oh, thank you. And and I'll say this, I didn't always have boundaries. But when I told LaDon, when I mentioned to you like finding my purpose, and I was in my 20s after my divorce, that's when I started to set boundaries. And that was one of the things that came out of my counseling session. She said, I'll never forget, the therapist told me, she said, you don't have any boundaries. I was a people pleaser.
Mm.
And so because I was a people pleaser, most people pleasers don't have boundaries because they're pleasing people.
Yeah, that's a part
And
of it.
so, and I never forget one of the people that I wanted to please, and I love her, to life, and that's my mother. I was grown and still wanted to please my mother. And it wasn't that I didn't please her, and it wasn't that she wasn't happy with me. I just still had that innate feeling to want to have to please her. And so I'll never forget, the therapist said, it's not your responsibility to please other people. You set the boundary, their response is their responsibility.
Every day, all day.
And so what happens is when you start to set boundaries with people that have never had boundaries, they're going to throw temper tantrums just like a child. When you tell a child you can't go outside and they're 2 and 3 and they don't understand, but you've been letting them go outside, they're going to fall on the floor and have a fit. So even with an adult, when you decide to get your mind right and say, I'm not taking this, I'm setting a boundary. Of course, that adult is going to have a tantrum. It may come out in having an attitude. It may come out in whatever way, but ultimately it's a tantrum because they're not getting their way. You've now set up a boundary and said, this is it, and you're cutting that off. When you take the responsibility away from you and say, listen, I set the boundary. That's my responsibility. How you respond to it is completely yours.
Yeah.
I'm not going to own that.
Yeah.
And you have to be very intentional. And sometimes I still struggle with that because I'm like, ooh, they're going to respond like this. And then I have to say, Tasha, no. If they respond like that, that's up to them. That's not you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's a work in progress, but I am very good at setting boundaries.
Yeah, you have to be intentional and consistent.
But that's what I was going to say. But it was intentional. It was consistent. And I read a book, and I've given this book out probably 10 times, and I should remember the author of it, but it's called Boundaries. I have to look it up and give it to y'all, so maybe y'all can share it in your chat.
You gave it to me. I think I'll put it out there.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I've given that. I don't even have the book anymore. I buy them and give it away every time. Because that was the book, and it goes through all types of examples, marriages, relationships, friendships, everything. And it talks, and it like gives you, and it's not like telling you what to do. It's giving you true stories of people who had issues with boundaries, and then they set the boundaries and how those outcomes was, and then it dissects it. That was a game changer. That was over 20 years ago. That was a game changer for me.
Dr. Henry Cloud.
Yep, Henry Cloud. That was a game changer for me. Yeah. So you're right, Nicole, but thank you. But it was a work in progress. I didn't just get born and I just had great boundaries.
Most of us don't have them like that. We learn through living.
Yeah. I wasn't that gifted. I'm just blessed that I learned at an early age, early enough to where I didn't waste because you got people at our age now that are just learning to set boundaries. I'm thankful that I learned that 20 years ago.
Yeah. And most people fear doing it because they think people will go away or won't adjust. You'll be surprised how people that respect you, how they'll adjust. They will adjust. They will adjust.
People will respect you more with it. Once they get past the tantrum, they'll respect you more because guess what? Boundaries accompany consistency. Let me tell you something. You can't be a person who sets boundaries but inconsistent. They don't coexist in the same place. Right. So a person who is really adequate and setting boundaries, they're pretty consistent people. So people respect consistency. Yeah. And after a while, they'll understand that and they'll just respect that that's what it is. And then if you add integrity and everything else that you do, then, at the end of the day, they'll understand that that's their problem. And again, when they have the problem from your boundary, just know what that sounds like. I got a problem because you set a boundary for you.
Yeah.
That
And-
within itself is narcissistic. You know what I'm saying? Like, how you gonna be mad at a boundary that I set for myself?
Yeah, and you learn really quickly who is for you and who is not, and that's
That's
that
it.
on that.
That's
on
it.
that.
That's it.
Yeah. Well, thank you, thank you,
I
thank you. This has been
appreciate y'all.
so informative, and I hope everyone listening tonight was well nourished and fed from all of the information you shared. I mean, you gave so much in your answers. And I hope people were able to dissect it and pull out the pieces that resonated with them, or
Mhm.
pieces that they've not been able to admit to themselves, but they've heard someone else say it.
Yeah.
And hopefully you've given someone permission to say, oh, okay, I can step away. I can set a boundary. I can go to my source in prayer. I can ask my village. I can do all of these things
Right.
Mm-hmm.
to conquer this inner storm and not stay locked in this career, job, whatever it is that I don't want to be in. Here's some
Absolutely.
actionable steps that I can really kind of work through and change that trajectory and live out the rest of my life doing something that I am purposed to do and that I
That's it.
enjoy doing. So yeah,
That's it.
Absolutely.
Nobody can be a better advocate for you than yourself.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
So thank you, ladies, for having me on.
Oh, yeah, it's been a pleasure.
Anything else to wrap us up, LaDawn?
Nope. I was just looking in the comments one more time, and I get so upset because I'm scrolling through the comments on my phone, and then I'll go after the show so that I can respond to all the comments. And there's always comments that I can't see on my phone. So I just wanted to make that announcement. If I don't call your comment out, the limited space that's on my phone, they're just not rolling over. But be assured that I will respond to them in when I go back and type up the comments. So, but thank you all for
Thank you,
joining,
Tasha.
everyone that participated tonight. Thank you to our special guest Tasha for coming and sharing so much with us tonight. We appreciate you
you.
all. Yeah, we appreciate everyone for joining and tuning in. Etsy, that's where you go get the journal, Conquering the Inner Storm.
That's right.
Yeah. And we will be back tomorrow. Tomorrow is day 9. These days are going by so quick. I can't believe it.
No, I
Yeah.
can't believe it.
Yeah.
I cannot believe it. Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Tosh. Yeah. So yeah, tomorrow is day 9 of our 12-day Conquering the Inner Storm live stream. And thank you guys for being so interactive in the chat. We appreciate you. And we will see you guys on tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.